Dojutsu, aka Visual Jutsu, or the literal meaning Eye Technique. They are special ninja abilities that usually derive from Keke Genkai or bloodline traits. Usually most of the techniques that derive from Dojutsu are passive and require little to no chakra. Dojutsu can be transplanted into others outside of the clan's bloodline, although use of the Dojutsu is typically more limited or taxing for those without genetic predisposition for it. And depending on the Dojutsu technique, even clan members can overuse the said Dojutsu and prevent it from being accessed for a period of time. And out of all the known Dojutsu, the Sharingan, the Ranagon, and the Biakugan are collectively known as the three great Dojutsu. And today I'm going to break down and explain every known Dojutsu in Naruto. And watch till the end for a fun Dojutsu fact from Naruto creator Masashi Kishimoto. Let's begin. First we'll start off with the Biakugan. The Biakugan, literally translated as White Eye or All-Seeing White Eye, is a Keke Genkai Dojutsu originated from the Otsutsuki clan. But after Kaguya settled on Earth and generations passed, the Biakugan became more commonly associated with the Hyuga clan, who were descendants of the Otsutsuki. Unlike Dojutsu such as the Sharingan, which does not manifest until users meet certain conditions, the Biakugan is present at the time of birth. Individuals that typically have the Biakugan are identifiable by their unique eyes that are clear and usually have no pupil. And when activating the Biakugan, the pupils become more distinct and the increased blood flow to their eyes causes veins near their temples to bulge. One exception to this rule is Himawari, who you can clearly see has blue eyes like her father, but her eyes turn clear when she's activating the Biakugan. Individuals with the Biakugan have a near 360-degree field of vision around themselves, with the exception of a small blind spot at the back of the neck above the first thoracic vertebrae. The Byakugan's vision can penetrate almost any object, allowing users to see through walls, peer underground, or even examine the contents of a person's body. Certain barriers have been shown to be able to block the Byakugan's sight, as have smokescreens that are comprised of a particular mineral dust. Users can focus their vision on anything and everything within the Byakugan's range, allowing them to monitor individuals from afar or to quickly survey a vast area and pinpoint specific locations within that area. The exact range of the Biakugan varies between users but can be improved with training. Neji in Part 1 has a range of about 50 meters, but in Part 2 can see at least 800 meters away. The Biakugan can see chakra to a greater degree than the Sharingan. This enables users to distinguish certain types of clones from their original, and even identify specific individuals' chakra signatures. Its ability to see chakra is so acute enough to see the chakra pathway system within a target's body and the 361 tenketsu, or chakra points, that run along it. The Hyuga have devised the gentle fist style of combat to specifically take advantage of this ability, wherein they strike an opponent's tenketsu to either seal or forcibly open them, thus giving the user complete control over their opponent's chakra. As a result of the Byakugan's ability to see chakra, users are able to determine if an opponent is currently performing a genjutsu. But unlike the Sharingan, the Biakugan does not seem to give its users any particular defense against an opponent's genjutsu. Kaguya was the strongest known user of the Biakugan, and it allowed her to look into her target's mind to determine their thoughts and feelings, and even to look through their memories. Her ability to do so was so great that Hamura Otsutsuki, using his own Biakugan, was unable to repel her. Kaguya could likewise emit pulses of chakra from her Biakugan to subdue targets. Ishiki's Dojutsu. This is the unnamed Dojutsu used by Ishiki Otsutsuki and later Kawaki through his karma. Typically, the iris and pupil of this eye are yellow with a black wheel-like pattern with 8 spokes coming out of the center. But in the manga, after being killed and appearing before Code as a spirit, the number of spokes in his eye decreased to 2. And when Kawaki uses the Dojutsu, the number of spokes in his eye changes from 1 when he's not using anything, to 2 or 4 when using a technique. This Dojutsu allows the user to use Sukuna Hikona, the ability to shrink themselves or any inanimate object or non-living matter within their sight. Accompanied with the technique is Daikokuten, which enables the user to store anything shrunk by Sukuna Hikona into a dimension where time does not flow at any moment. The Dojutsu can also summon large black cubes which can disrupt the techniques of a sensory-type individual, as well as enabling the user to estimate their lifespan chakra in the anime through a flame-like shadow. Jogan. The Jogan is a unique dojutsu that is only known by the Otsutsuki clan, whose members claim it's troublesome and that it's a power strongly inherited from their clan. Not much is known about the Jogan at the moment. But so far, its known abilities are that it can perceive the flow of chakra, enabling Boruto to see the visible changes in one's chakra and likewise track a target through their chakra. It can also clearly see the chakra pathway system and even the tenketsu, similar to the Biakugan. And it can also see through invisible barriers that connect between dimensions. An animator for Boruto explained that the eye is related to the Otsutsuki clan's dimension, and its powers are the Dojutsu equivalent of Naruto's ability to sense negative emotions. Ketsuryugan. The Ketsuryugan is a dojutsu which appears in certain individuals of the Chinoiki clan. The Ketsuryugan has genjutsu casting abilities, either by making physical skin contact with the target or meeting each other's gaze, upon which they can hypnotize the victim in a variety of ways or even delve deep into their minds to extract information. Also, users have the ability to manipulate iron, or more accurately, any liquid with a high iron concentration. As such, users can manipulate blood, whether it be within themselves or another being. Sharingan. The Sharingan, also known as the Copy Wheel Eye, is the dojutsu of the Uchiha clan. This dojutsu can only be acquired when a wielder of this Keke Genkai experiences a powerful emotion condition with regards to a person that is precious to them. Their brain releases a special form of chakra that affects the optic nerves, transforming the eyes into the Sharingan. In the anime, it was shown that usually after first acquiring this power, the user's enhanced perception will throw off their timing, causing them to overstress their bodies from trying to keep up with the increased reaction time, forcing the user to adjust to properly move with it. A higher control of one's chakra is also required to maintain its power for long periods of time. When first awakened, each Sharingan usually will only have one tomoe, although in some cases they immediately gain two in each of their eyes. Through emotional growth of extreme conditions, the Sharingan will continue to develop, its full maturation represented by a third tomoe. All Sharingan abilities are available at the first tomoe, with each additional tomoe meaning higher proficiency in the abilities. As with every dojutsu, Sharingan can be implanted into a non-Uchiha, although they are unable to deactivate it and its use has a greater chakra demand for them than an actual Uchiha, who only need minimal chakra to keep it active. The Sharingan grants the wielder two main abilities, the Eye of Insight and the Eye of Hypnotism. The ability of the Eye of Insight allows users to see chakra, giving it color in order to distinguish it by its composition and source. Although it's not as capable as the Biakugan, it can also see chakra through some, but not all, obstructions, and also detect irregularities in a person's chakra flow, such as those caused by a genjutsu. The user is also granted incredible clarity of perception, enabling them to read lips or mimic something like pencil movements. And in combat, it allows the user to see fast-moving objects and, once fully developed, offers some amount of predictive capabilities. They can anticipate an opponent's next move based on the slightest muscle tension in their body and act accordingly to dodge or intercept. And with this, it also allows the user to be able to copy almost any jutsu they see, memorizing ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu with near-perfect accuracy, with the exceptions being that the Sharingan user needs to have the prerequisite abilities before they can mimic a jutsu they have seen, and for that reason, they cannot, for example, reproduce Keke Genkai abilities they do not have, or nature transformations they haven't learned to perform. Also, with enough visual prowess, the user can enter a target's mind to look through their memories or even erase it. And with the abilities of the Eye of Hypnotism, the user can perform what is generically called the Genjutsu Sharingan, which allows the user, usually through eye contact, to suggest thoughts and actions to a target, coercing them to divulge information or act in a particular way, potentially without the target's awareness. And in extreme cases, allows the Sharingan user to take complete control of the target's body, forcing them to do exactly as the controller wishes. This has commonly been shown when a Sharingan user uses his ability to take control of a tailed beast. In addition to those abilities, the Sharingan also has two other abilities that they can use. Izanagi, which allows the user to warp reality for a short period of time, changing reality into an illusion or an illusion into reality, thus escaping death and rewriting destiny. And the other is Izanami, which traps the victim in an infinite loop, disregarding the target's 5 senses, specifically designed as a reprimand for those who would abuse Izanagi. But with the use of either of these abilities, the eye that used the technique will go blind. Manekyo Sharingan. The Manekyo Sharingan, also known as the Kaleidoscope Copy Wheel Eye, is an advanced form of the Sharingan that has only been activated by a handful of Uchiha. The appearance of the Manekyo Sharingan changes from user to user, but they all resemble pinwheels. The Manekyo is awakened through the trauma suffered from witnessing the death of someone close to the user. But somewhere throughout history, it was misunderstood and people started thinking that they need to be the one responsible for the person closest to them's death, and for that reason, they developed the practice of killing their closest friends in order to gain the Mangekyou Sharingan. The Mangekyou Sharingan retains all of the Sharingan's generic abilities, and in addition to that, the Mangekyou grants powerful abilities that differ from each user. Although abilities may be similar in nature, each eye produces a different ability. An example of this is both Sasuke and Itachi having access to the Amaterasu flames, though the extent to which they can use them differ. And not only that, but the abilities of the Mangekyou Sharingan may not even be the same for both of a single user's eyes. As an example, Itachi has Amaterasu in one eye and Tsukiyomi in the other. Also, once the user has Mangekyou in both eyes, they are able to perform the Susanoo. And unlike the other Mangekyou abilities which require the user to still have the eye intact, the Susanoo can actually be used even without either of the eyes. Once the user has been able to use it, he can always use it. Even for true Uchiha clan members, the usage of the Mangekyou Sharingan's abilities can cause a great strain on the user, and it drains a considerable amount of chakra when simply activating and maintaining the advanced Dojutsu, and even more through each technique used. And even more so, besides chakra, usage of the Dojutsu can also cause extreme strain on the body itself, leaving the user in agonizing pain and causing deterioration to their vision until eventually overusage leaves them blind. Although this blindness can be cured by transplanting the Mangekyou Sharingan of an Uchiha with strong blood ties, aka a sibling or close family member, thus awakening the so-called Eternal Mangekyou Sharingan. And with the Eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, the user no longer suffers from any negative side effects from using them, as well as even reducing chakra draining to an unnoticeably minimal level. The Mangekyou Sharingan also grants the user the ability to read and decode the Uchiha clan's stone tablet, and according to Obito, the Mangekyou Sharingan can decode it more than the Sharingan, but less than the Ranagon. Some noted abilities of the Mangekyou Sharingan include Itachi's left Mangekyou, which has the ability of Tsukiyomi, an extremely powerful genjutsu that distorts the victim's perception of time, and with his right Mangekyou, he can use Amaterasu, creating inextinguishable black flames at the user's focal point. Obito's Mangekyou, which both eyes wield Kamui, able to teleport targets to and from the Kamui dimension, although in different manners. The right eye is able to use close-range Kamui, teleporting the user and/or those they're in contact with. By teleporting only parts of their body there, they can in effect seamlessly pass through other matter. The left eye is able to use long-range Kamui, creating a barrier around a target that teleports them, also able to produce an attraction force to draw other targets close enough in. The left eye can also target the user themselves for complete teleporting. Sasuke's Mangekyou, in which either eye Sasuke can cast Amaterasu, as well as shape and extinguish them. Shin Uchiha's Mangekyou. With his right eye, Shin Uchiha is able to telekinetically manipulate any objects after first branding them with a special mark that he places by direct contact with his hand. Shisui's Mangekyou, in which with each of his eyes he could use Koto Amatsukami, a powerful genjutsu that manipulates a target's thoughts so perfectly and absolutely that no one completely, including the target, would have the slightest idea that they were being controlled. However, this technique can't be used with the same eye again until after a period of time. Other users of the Mangekyou include Madara Uchiha, his brother Izuna Uchiha, Indra Otsutsuki, Sasuke and Itachi's father Fugaku Uchiha, and Hagoromo Otsutsuki, although these users' abilities for their Mangekyou are unknown. Ranmarus Keke Genkai. This unique dojutsu has no current name but grants the user abilities similar to those of the Biakugan. This dojutsu grants the wielder a number of abilities that revolve around extrasensory perception, including viewing and hearing events from vast distances and clearly seeing through obstructions. The user can also easily locate and track others by sensing chakra. And the user has the ability to counter another's visual prowess, as it can completely hinder the ability to see chakra and an individual's ability to overcome genjutsu. Notably, it can also perform elaborate genjutsu that can deceive sensory abilities. It can also detect changes in an individual's chakra or see one's life force, and it can be used to predict the opponent's next move or accurately determine if someone was alive. In addition to this, it can be used to be able to transfer part of the user's own life force to completely heal someone who is mostly dead. Ranagon. The Ranagon is widely known as the rarest and debatably the most powerful of the three great dojutsu. The first person on Earth to possess the Ranagon was Hagoromo Otsutsuki, whose mother Kaguya possessed the Rene Sharingan. He awakened the Ranagon at the same time he awakened his Mangekyou Sharingan, which resulted from him mortally wounding his brother. And using the power of the Ranagon, he used it to stop the Ten Tails and create Ninshu, the predecessor to ninjutsu. There is only 9 known users in all of the history of Naruto to ever possess the Ranagon. This includes Nagato, Hagoromo Otsutsuki, Momoshiki Otsutsuki, Urashiki Otsutsuki, the Ten Tails, Madara Uchiha, Obito Uchiha, Sasuke Uchiha, and Black Zetsu. And even with that being said, majority of these users were due to the fact that Madara's eyes kept getting passed around from one user to another. So if we remove Nagato, Obito, and Black Zetsu, that leaves actually only 6 people who have ever actually fully awakened the Ranagon. It is possible for a Sharingan wielder to awaken a new Ranagon by obtaining Hagoromo's chakra, by either combining the chakra of his sons Indra and Ashura, or by directly receiving it from Hagoromo himself. This can also be replicated by fusing the chakras of Indra and Ashura's reincarnations, aka people like Madara and Hashirama, or even, theoretically, Naruto and Sasuke. The Ranagon can also appear in many different forms. There is the standard appearance of the Ranagon, then there is Sasuke's Ranagon, which is basically the same as the general appearance but with 6 Tomoe in it. Then there is Momoshiki's Red Ranagon. Then there is Momoshiki and Urashiki's Yellow Ranagon after transforming. There's Urashiki's Standard Ranagon, which is basically the same as Sasuke's but red. And then lastly, Urashiki also has a Blue Ranagon. Sasuke's unique Ranagon came from when he awakened it due to receiving chakra from Hagoromo himself. The reason there is 6 Tomoe in it could be due to the fact that in addition to the Ranagon's power, this eye also contains Sasuke's left Manekyo Sharingan abilities as well. And if Sasuke overuses the power of his Ranagon, his ocular power will temporarily diminish, causing the Tomoe in his Ranagon to vanish until his full power returns. Momoshiki has a pair of red Ranagon embedded into the palm of his hands. They are initially red, but after he absorbs Chinchiriki, his guardian, they become purple in the movie or yellow in the animated series. And when he did this, he also obtained a third Ranagon on his forehead, and in the anime, whenever he uses the ability of these Ranagons, the yellow Ranagon turns red. Why it changes color is unknown, and why it was initially red in the first place is also unknown. Urashiki has the weirdest Ranagon of all, as his changes into 3 different colors. Urashiki has both the Biakugan and the Ranagon and can switch between the two at will. So him being able to do this might be an explanation as to why it's blue, because it could be a possible combination between the initial purple and the white of the Biakugan, kinda similar to Sasuke's combination of having the Tomoe. But then, depending on the ability he's using, his Ranagon can turn into this, which is basically Sasuke's Ranagon but red. But similarly, when Momoshiki transformed and his turned yellow, when Urashiki transforms, his turns yellow as well. Will we get an explanation for this? Probably not, because Urashiki is an anime-only character. As far as abilities, the Ranagon boasts more abilities than any other dojutsu. Starting off, the Ranagon is able to see chakra and its flow within the body, as well as otherwise invisible barriers, but cannot see through obstructions like the Biakugan. Possession of the Ranagon also allows the user to easily master any jutsu as well as all 5 basic nature transformations. And the Ranagon is the only dojutsu able to fully decipher the Sage of the Six Paths stone tablet. The person who possesses the Ranagon can utilize 6 abilities collectively known as the Six Paths technique. Controlling attractive and repulsive forces with the Diva path, mechanically altering one's body with the Ashura path, extracting souls through the human path, summoning various creatures through the animal path, absorbing chakra through the Preta path, and access to the King of Hell through the Naraka path. There is a 7th ability known as the Outer Path, which allows the user to preside over life and death, granting them the ability to revive the dead. This ability also allows the user to transmit their chakra into black receivers, manifest chakra chains to bind the tailed beast, and create the 6 paths of pain, 6 bodies controlled through the use of the black receivers, which can each utilize one aspect of the 6 paths. The Ranagon also grants the user a shared field of vision with their 6 paths of pain, the creatures summoned through the animal path, and the King of Hell, which all possess copies of the Ranagon in their own eyes. The Ranagon is also the only means of breaking the seal on the demonic statue and summoning it, as well as the only way to seal the Ten Tails inside one's body to become its Chinchiriki. Similarly to the Manekyo Sharingan, the Ranagon has been shown to possess unique abilities depending on the user. Madara can create shadow versions of himself in the world of Limbo, which is only visible to the Ranagon. Sasuke can switch places with other objects and or people within a certain range of himself and create portals to other dimensions. Momoshiki can absorb any ninjutsu with his right Ranagon and release an amplified form of it with his left Ranagon, as well as transform chakra and living individuals into edibles. And finally, Urashiki's Ranagon, which seems to be the strongest of all, allows him to not only displace himself and seemingly vanish from existence, but also allows him to transport himself several seconds into the past to redo events. Tensaigon. The Tensaigon is a dojutsu that can only be acquired when an Otsutsuki is implanted with the Biakugan of a Hyuga. This combination of the two clans' chakra transforms the Biakugan into the Tensaigon. The process of the transformation takes several days to complete, and as the transformation advances, the user experiences increasingly painful pulsations in the eyes. The abilities of the Tensaigon include being able to animate a gigantic golem that you can control at will, as well as entering something known as the Tensaigon Chakra mode. This mode not only grants the user the ability to fly, but also enhances the user's physical abilities to be on par with Naruto's Nine-Tails Chakra Cloak. Also, upon activating this form, the user gains access to 9 Truth-Seeking Orbs, and the ability to amplify the orbs by infusing them with chakra. And with these enhanced Truth-Seeking Orbs, the user can use techniques such as the Silver and Golden Wheel Reincarnation Explosions, which is used to create an incredibly powerful Silver Typhoon that obliterated the moon's crust, and a massive Golden Sword that cut the entire moon in half. Rinne Sharingan. The Rinne Sharingan is the dojutsu that is the predecessor to the Ranagon and the Sharingan. Kaguya Otsutsuki was the first ever person to obtain the Rinne Sharingan due to her eating the chakra fruit of the god tree. The second was Madara Uchiha after he became the Ten-Tails Chinchiriki and regained both of his Ranagon. The abilities of the Rinne Sharingan include being able to cast the Infinite Tsukiyomi, an extremely powerful genjutsu which can only be countered by the Ranagon and the chakra of the Nine-Tailed Beasts. It can also be used to transport the user and anyone around them into a series of alternate dimensions. It is also still under debate whether Sasuke's Ranagon is considered a Rinne Sharingan or not, due to the fact that the standard Rinne Sharingan has 9 tomoe, whereas Sasuke's only has 6. Cenragon. The Cenragon is a unique dojutsu possessed by Ada. It allows the user to project their consciousness to any location to see and hear any present event, as well as any past event up to the moment of the user's birth. Shion's Dojutsu. This unique dojutsu allows the user to see a select person's future. Usually this is activated involuntarily to show a person's eventual death. Also, to be honest, it's definitely the coolest looking dojutsu. And finally, a fun fact about dojutsu from Naruto creator Masashi Kishimoto. He once stated that if a Sharingan user and a Biakugan user were to have a child, their offspring would have 1 Biakugan and 1 Sharingan.